I have people who like bring their files to me and they're like, hey, like, why is this coming out like this? And I'm like, how did you digitize this? Like, what kind of tools? And they're like, oh, it's out of digitize. And then right away, I'm like, banned.
Squeegee Ink Podcast, Season 2. This podcast is sponsored by Blind Maggot, Magna Colours, M&R, Target Transfers, and Adobe Creative Suite.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Ken, also known as KENBLKWRK. Well, you guys are the embroidery heads, and I teach you all about digitising and embroidery. I started about 3 years ago, and it was actually with my girlfriend, Amanda. We stumbled into embroidery out of like just browsing YouTube, to be honest. We were like just looking around, and then we saw it was actually A-Dubs. I saw that you guys made a podcast with him recently. And we saw that he was making some cool shirts with this like tiny little neat machine. And we were like, we could totally try that. So we ordered the machine from Amazon and we started testing things out. And it was honestly like, I just kind of fell in love with the art ever since then. So, yeah.
Yeah, because it does really feel like it's an art, because you know, a lot of people in our industry are screen printers. They get an embroidery machine and then they never really engage with digitizing. Mm-hmm. But that's your main thing, isn't it? It's like
it is.
Art.
It's actually really funny with digitizing because when we first got started, we were selling. I'm sure you've seen them everywhere. It's the ones where like you sell the custom portraits on the outline portraits on shirts and sweaters, and that's kind of how we got into it as our first little business. We were doing that, and I noticed that I didn't really like the way the auto digitizing tool it was doing it, because I didn't know how to digitize at all. So I was just relying on the brother PE, I think it's 11, 10, I don't remember. And I was just like importing the photo that I would draw in Procreate, auto digitize it. And it wasn't until recently that I discovered that auto digitizing is mainly just for you to see like an estimate of what the design is going to look like, but you should never be using it for actual embroidery. And that is, but yeah, I noticed, I was like, I don't really like the way it looks. So I decided I'm going to like learn how to digitize. I'm going to take the time to do it. It's definitely been a journey it's like 3 years and I still feel like there's so much more to learn. So I feel like I definitely love digitizing more than I love embroidery. Like they go hand in hand. But I love digitizing so much. Yeah. It's something that has become a passion of mine.
That whole auto digitize thing is something that I had no idea about. I think I looked it up on, it was either you or A-Dub. And I was like, that's a thing. That's like, is it the equivalent of going into Illustrator, getting a logo and doing image trace? And then sometimes you can actually get away with it. Yeah. But also me and you can tell on the embroidery files and I can tell instantly on the Illustrator files, like that has been auto traced.
Right.
It just rounds off everything in a horrible way, especially text, right?
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of what it is for me with Illustrator. I just cannot understand it for some reason. If you can give me a digitizing program, I'll understand it. But I've been, a little bit of my background is I've been doing graphic design since I was 14 years old. So it just kind of started on my own, watching YouTube videos, learning Photoshop, learning like a couple of the programs, and Illustrator for some reason has always been the program that I just cannot understand. So to me, that's still to this day a mystery too. I do auto tracing on Illustrator because I just don't have the patience to go in with the tools. It's like an inverted keyboard or something. I don't know.
I know.
So
I've had to bully so many people into Illustrator, but now I've done it so much that if you throw me into Photoshop, I'm like trying to click and hold to drag things bigger. And I'm like, that doesn't work. It's like a whole new set. Oh yeah, I understand.
It's so interesting how different they are, Photoshop and Illustrator, when they're like by the same program, creator. So yeah, that's something about that. We actually, on my Discord channel that we have a couple members there. A couple members, that is modest. It's so funny because I have people who like bring their files to me and they're like, hey, like, why is this coming out like like this. And I'm like, how did you digitize this? Like, what kind of tools? And they're like, oh, it's auto digitize. And then right away I'm like, banned. I don't actually banned them, but definitely like, no, we don't accept auto digitizing anywhere. And it's really funny because when we first got started, Amanda and I, we obviously, I didn't have the budget to be spending so much money on the program, on the machine, on the shirts, on the materials, everything. So you want to look for the low cost thing. And I was just like looking on YouTube like all day, like, hey, like how do I digitize for free? How to do auto digitizing so I didn't have to learn. And those were the videos that kind of like, it worked at first, but it just wasn't going to work in the long run as an actual business, So that's the main reason why I also, I decided to start making videos on YouTube and teach people what I know now, because I want my experience. I like the experience that I have. I want other people to have better experiences with their own, like when they're starting out. Yeah. So for them to be able to realize like, hey, you know what? Maybe actually learning how to digitize isn't so bad. It can be really fun, and you get a way better result off of it. So yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me in embroidery has been just getting those bloody mighty hoops, just getting the magnetic hoops.
Yes, these ones right here. Yeah. Can't live without them.
I genuinely used to push M to do all the embroidery at the beginning with those like push-in hoops. I was like, I can't be dealing with it. I can't be dealing with it. Got a magic hoop, just one. Yeah. And then I was like, I'll take over now. This is primed and easy enough for me. But they are amazing, aren't they? Like
they're miracles, honestly. They're expensive, but I understand that it's because the magnets themselves are expensive. So it's justified, and you save so much time.
Yeah.
What machine do you have, by the way?
Have you smashed your fingers in them yet? You have. Okay.
I've got my belly, actually. That was the worst part. When I was like pushing it, and just like, yeah, I did. That one, actually, I felt it real bad.
That sounds like blood
like it closes, and then like I pull away, and it was like not only my belly but my shirt too. So I was like, but that's how you learn not to never do it again.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely disgusting. I could just feel the pain because they are violent. You've got one there. Yeah. Do you want to just show people how violent they are?
Oh, yes, of course. Here, let me take off this. All right, guys. So these are the mighty hoops. This is a 5.5. Look at the strength of this, okay? I barely have to push it together. And then it's so hard. You guys can see Amanda struggles like trying to take these apart. So that's how strong they are. Let me put this away. There we go.
I'll answer your question about which embroidery. It's the, I'm reading it off the side because I don't retain this kind of stuff. It's like the Melco EMT 16
16X. Nice.
X or plus or whatever. But I only got one, but I should have bought two. Do you know what I mean? Because for doing what we do, like workwear, you're always going to get like 20, 30 pieces. And then one, it's like... Right.
You feel it. You're there all day or 2 days even. Yeah. Do you guys mainly do then? You definitely do screen printing as a main business, right? What made you guys want to try embroidery?
It's such a complimentary thing. Like it's when people were coming to the door, they were literally saying, they were asking for screen print because they knew it was better quality than vinyl in their heads. And then they were just saying, and also do you do embroidery? And we kept passing it down the road. And when you see like 10, 20, 30, 40 jobs go down the road to Gazkaz, it was just winding me up. So I just got it. And I love the look of it. You can tell it's super premium. And then, we want to use it for our own brand as well. So it makes sense.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah.
I've got so many embroidery questions. Can I lay
Yeah, of course. Lay them on the table. Okay. I'll do my best to answer them.
Okay. Okay. So choices with backings and things. When do you have to do cutaway? When do you do tearaway?
Okay. I have one phrase for it, right? And if you wear it, don't tear it. Okay. So if you're going to wear anything that is stretchy, like a hoodie, a shirt, pants, jeans, jeans can kind of get away with it. But overall, if you're going to wear something that is stretchy, avoid using tearaway at all costs, because when the fabric is stretchy, the tearaway is not stable enough for it to hold the design. Unless it's a super, super simple design. I don't really do that many simple designs. I don't know if you've seen I like to go really like complex with it. Yeah. but so those definitely get destroyed all the time with tearaway. So cutaway just holds out that fabric a lot better. And sometimes I even tell people to double it up. So even one set of like 3 ounce cutaway is not enough. So if you're going to wear it and it's stretchy, if it's a stretchy fabric, just use cutaway. And if it's something like a tote bag, a backpack, even shoes, then you can kind of get away with using tearaway. And hats is kind of like the main use for tearaway, actually, since they're super like solid. So
I feel like an absolute idiot. I genuinely thought it was 100% the other way, because I thought you didn't want to feel the rigid backing on your skin.
No, that's right. No, and that's what happened to me. I actually started that way as well. I was like using tearaway and I was like, yeah, like I just tear it off and there's nothing on the back anymore. But then when I got into the more difficult designs, it was just so out of place and it was really messed up. And I'm like, this design sucks. This design sucks. And it's like, no, hold on a second. It's actually the stabilizer. You're not hooping it properly. And so had to find out about that. And those are the things that can be kind of a pain with embroidery. I'm sure with screen printing too. I cannot even I don't have any idea of how screen printing works, to be honest. And I find it to be like really like, scary, honestly, because I know how embroidery can also be very, it can just be difficult to really intimidating. Yeah. Right. So, I kind of lost track of what I was saying, but it's learning those steps and, making those mistakes that help you become a better embroiderer and screen printer along the way. Yeah. Okay.
What is your thoughts on it though? Because when we're being asked to do like embroidery by businesses, for example, as screen printers, it's often like a little left chest logo. But then if we are having the cutaway there, have you seen it where the cutaway kind of leaves like kind of a, you can see the cutaway through the shirt because it's so thin.
Yes. Yeah. Especially on the white shirts, you notice that a lot. I gotta say, first of all, I'm someone who does not embroider on shirts. Okay. I stay away from shirts like 24/7. Okay. Because I know how much of a pain that is. Funny enough, when we first started, we were doing white shirts. We didn't know about the backing. We were doing white shirts. And obviously when you do a logo that's like 4 inches, you're going to see that cutaway. So we were like, yeah, we're just going to do tearaway so that there's no backing at all. And it's going to look transparent. But the problem with that as well is that with tearaway, after you wash it, it actually kind of wrinkles up because the fabric itself doesn't have enough like stability for it to stay like solid. So it is there are some other materials that companies use, for example, for polos. There's kind of like a mesh where it's not as solid as a cutaway, but it also doesn't tear like tearaway. So definitely I've seen companies that do that a lot where like they kind of put it in like put one like this and then the other one like that. And it's just a thinner mesh. And then that's the one that I would say yes. But I don't use that myself because I don't do polos. I prefer doing hoodies, jackets, anything that's thick. I'm down to do so.
Okay, I understand. And then, so then after that, the next question you're probably going to get is like needle choice. And
yes.
From my experience with looking it up and stuff, I'm thinking like T-shirts and things, you have like a ball point rounded one, so it slides through the cotton. And then for caps, it's always sharp. Are there any other, have you got like a rule for needles?
So there are many things that you can really implement. There are so many different needle sizes and so many, but I would say that for 90% of people who are doing embroidery, unless you're doing something super specialized, you're only going to need a 75/11 needle size. That is like the embroidery standard. And that is matched up with the 40 weight polyneon, or you can use like the Madeira rayon. I feel like now I prefer the polyneon 40 weights because it's more affordable. It does have a better resistance and it looks shinier, which a lot of people do like that shiny look on the embroidery. So honestly, again, to 90% of people, I would say just remember those two things: 75/11 needle and 40 weight polyester or polyneon. Sorry. And then if you want to do, for example, like super tiny, like small letters, then you can go for a smaller needle size, and you can keep the same, the polyneon. So
so
maybe something like a 60/10.
Okay, 60/10. I'm literally writing this down. I think I have so many different needles in there, and then I've written on them like, this is sharp, because I can't remember all the number things. I'm like, this is rounded, use it for this. So I need like a little cheat sheet or something on the embroidery machine, because I just haven't dedicated the time to it yet.
All the designs that I've made, by the way, absolutely all of them that you guys have like seen on my Instagram and everything, I've done it with a 75/11 needle. I have not changed anything. I haven't made any differences in like a specialized needle. So again, 99% of the time, you're going to be fine with a 75/11 and 40 weights. It's only when you really need that specific thing, if you're doing like metallic threads, even then you can still kind of get away with that if you like lower the speed. But besides that, if you want to get like super, super tiny details, then you make the smaller needle. But that's, that's for specific cases.
Cool. There's a lot of different things. Like, I didn't realize again until I started YouTubing it that digitising is literally plotting out the stitches in areas.
Right. Yes. So, yes.
So surely that's like incredibly time consuming. Like how long how are you charging for your digitising as a service? Are you doing it on like the time or the amount of stitches in the design? Or is it the same thing?
It's so my business, I actually just started doing more customs. I didn't really want to accept customs for a long time because I believe that in this embroidery market at the moment, you could say it's not saturated at all, but a lot of people from different countries are able to charge a lot less for this service. That for me here, being in Canada and trying to charge Canadian dollars, I can't compete with people that charge $5 for a full logo versus me trying to charge, like $30, $40 for a logo. So I only recently started accepting customs now that I have more of an audience that see what I do, especially the ones that have had like, services that they didn't really enjoy and they didn't like the way it came out. Those are usually the people that come to me after and they're like, hey, you know what? This didn't come out good. Can you do this for me? And I'm like, okay, cool. But this is what I charge. And they're like, yes. So the way that I just kind of like to have a simplified like fee. And that is like, I start like minimum, for example, $40 on my website. I actually have it set to $70 minimum, but that is because most of the designs that I get are very complex. So those are designs that are already like multiple colors. Definitely takes me a lot longer. And the way that I like to do digitizing is I actually set myself a limit for designs. So I was actually a while ago digitizing, embroidering, recording, editing, and uploading every single day. I think I was able to do it for like 46 days straight without stopping. And that was like a different design every day. And the way that I was able to do that is by putting a limit on my digitizing. So it started as, for example, I would be up by 7. From 7 to 8, I would check out a design that I wanted to make, and then I would digitize it. So 1 hour limit. And then from 8 to 9, embroider and record. 9 to 10, edit that video. And then 10 to 11, just like set everything up and have it uploaded. So it's digitizing. If you really let it happen, you can take all day to make one design. But my goal is nowadays with everything, it's like, okay, I'm going to set a timer, 1 hour. I can estimate, hey, this is going to take me an hour. This is going to take me 2 hours. And then I don't allow myself to go past that no matter what. So it's And then also from that's how you kind of fed content for yourself for your Instagram. So you set yourself challenges, didn't you? Like, okay, I'm going to do 30 landmarks or whatever it was. And then you've made all of those files. You haven't just used them as content and then left it. You've used them as assets and now you sell them as embroidery files that anyone can use. So when I like the idea. I honestly discovered I guess the beauty about digitizing, and to anyone who's interested in getting into digitizing, is when you make your own files, it's not like you make that file once and then you that's it, it's gone. You can use that file forever because it's a digital thing. So same thing how embroidery people, when they get that file, they can embroider it forever on their machine. Same thing with a digitizer. My focus on the other side was creating a digital file. And for the longest time, I've had this goal where I want to be able to provide designs for people so that they can actually use them commercially for their businesses. Because that is the one market that I feel like no one's really like tapping into, is just being able to create really cool, properly digitized files that people can purchase. And then like actually, hey, if I don't have any designs, I don't have any cool ideas, well, at least there's this one that I can use. And then because it's something that's recognizable and copyright free, people can use that all the time. So yeah, that's the goal that I'm working towards.
I think just build a library with that. Yeah, exactly. Because you've got like a library, and then you've got little subcategories of things that you're working on. Like the anime must be incredibly popular, and then landmarks, and it seems like a really good business plan for that. So you're talking about like batching your day. How are you? So you're just starting to bring in the customs, but how are you figuring out what makes more business sense? Like creating content over spending, like you're swapping your time for money in terms of like actually working for people. Right.
Yes. So I think this is not just for me, but I think this is for everyone. I think having like an actual plan is the most important thing, because if I for the longest time, I was just kind of going day to day trying to figure it out. And I was driving myself crazy to the point where like I genuinely was like, should I just go ahead and like quit all of this and then get a normal job? Because that felt a lot easier than that.
Everyone's thought it, yeah.
And I struggled with that daily. I was telling when at the end of the day, I was just like, I'm just going to go get a normal job. Like, but then I was like, there's this thought, and I'm sure you've had this many times where you're like, what's worse? Like really, like, doing this and, sticking through with it, or like the idea of getting a job that's a normal job. And I was like, no, I actually prefer this still over that. So then it came down to me setting up a proper plan for me to execute and follow. And right now, so the ways in which I'm trying to, I guess, have my streams of income is YouTube mainly, and then also like the files, and then supplement my digitizing services. But I never want to allow my digitizing services to become number one, because that is I kind of see it as like doing cardio. you know the difference between cardio and lifting weights, where like with YouTube and making files and putting them out there, it's like I'm building muscle, versus with customs, I'm just doing like a cardio session for an hour and then that's it. So
that's really funny.
That's kind of how I see it. So yeah, I'm still trying to implement more YouTube. Now the thing, and this, is that YouTube takes a long time to set up. It takes a long time to grow, and you really have to be strategic on what content you put out there. A lot of people, to regular viewers, they see that it's like, hey, I upload a video, but it's also like, taking the time to think about the thumbnails, about the SEO, about like the like how the video is even going to be shown and edited and everything. So it's been very interesting, honestly. And I genuinely, it's hard, but I grow to like things that are like challenging. So I guess that's why I enjoy digitizing. Okay. Because it's a challenging thing. It feels like a puzzle every time.
Well, is there like a type of file that you'd be like, oh God, then that's beyond me. That shouldn't be embroidered. I shouldn't embroider it. Like, is it like photographic person, like a photo of someone, or is that easy?
Yes. No, there is actually, I've had this request for the past year and a half now. And that is, they want me to teach them how to digitize pets. I don't know why. I can do everything. I can do buildings, I can do landscapes, but ask me to draw the pet And like, it's just the worst. Okay. I feel like one eye is here and the other one is here. And it's just like, I don't know how. Maybe I have to look up a proper course again on how to like, do first and everything like that. But every single time the question's asked, I'm just like, I'm not ready for it yet. Give me another year.
Yeah. There's like bad pet portraits and like people who are tattooists and they shouldn't be tattooists and they do the portrait and they do the rub reveal. And it's like, oh my God.
Oh no. Yeah. There's one time I did try. Yeah. I tried to draw a dog. They requested an outline of a dog. And you know how all eyes have like a little like highlight? I didn't put that highlight. And it just looks so demonic.
Yeah.
And it was the worst. So ever since then, I was like, no, I'm going to stay away from doing this for now. Yeah.
But also the funny thing with embroidery is you can like pick whatever color thread for the design. So you could pick little red eyes and then it would be really
now
really,
that's a Halloween
scary.
Costume, a Halloween design.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was going to ask, like, what are the most common troubles that people have? Is it thread breaks? Is that like
with digitising or embroidering?
Embroidering.
I feel like from my experience now, so I mainly speak to people who are just beginning in this field. I feel like the videos that I've been making have been towards those people who are just picking up their first machine. They're asking me like, hey, what should I get? And after they pick it up, I pretty much get like, hey, like my tension's all messed up. The white bobbing is showing at the top. Again, my design is super wrinkled up. It's not lining up. And then also like my thread's not getting caught, like what's going on there. So, and those, I guess after a while, you kind of understand like just how to fix that right away. But when you're a beginner, there's so many different things. It's kind of like you have to look at the whole manual in order to, and then just go one by one until you fix the problem. But yeah, to anyone who's watching right now and who's just getting their first machine and are encountering any problems and just want to have it in your mind, always make sure that you're using the correct stabilizer. So again, if you wear it, don't tear it. That will just help immensely. That usually fixes a lot of the problems. You have no idea how often, like, I'm just like, okay, what stabilizer did you use? Okay, switch to the other one. And then right away, they're like, oh, wow, it's all good. The second one, super important. Make sure that you, even if you don't have this one, no worries, but make sure that your fabric is like stretched, it's taut, because if your fabric is like super wavy on the inside, it's just not going to work out. It makes sense when you think about it, but it can fly by a lot of people's, heads. So just make sure that you stretch it out. Doesn't have to be so crazy, but just enough so that when I like to kind of say like, it feels like a drum. So when you tap it, it sounds and feels like a drum. And then just ensure that you're using the right needle. So again, 75-11 and then the 40 weights. If you're using those settings, the last thing to do is the tension. But with that, you just kind of run a tension test you can do it in like 15 minutes. Your machine should be running really well. And then you should have no problems after that. So
the other thing that I saw on one of your slightly earlier videos, but you probably say it all the time, is just because your machine can run at 1,200 doesn't mean you should run at 1,200.
No, that's right. That's so true. And honestly, that's something that, again, as a beginner, I didn't know at all. I was, especially when I got the Rikoma EM1010, I was at first running it around like 1,000. And I was like, this design sucks. And then it just started breaking. The threads were breaking. Everything was going wrong. And I was like, okay, you know what? I took an advice from a friend. She was running hers at like around 550, which was half, almost half of what the machine does. And then I never had like that many problems anymore. So I don't know. David did teach me this. So I'm grateful for David, who actually helped us install the Tajima. He was like, you usually want to run it at 80%. And that is like the sweet spot for every machine. So if it's at 1,000, and just run it at 800. This machine right now, it's insane. I did a test yesterday at 850 and it did such a clean design. So honestly, right now, I love Tajimas. I could tell you guys, you and Lee both got them in the same time, I guess, because you're both. Yeah, recently right now. Yeah. So
now you're like, everything I said about the old machine being the best is bullshit. This is my favorite thing. But so like, what are the big jumps that you've noticed? Is it the actual quality or is it just the ease? Like, what types of things are you noticing?
So the thing is that I think with the Rikoma, I was using it for the longest time and I was able to get some pretty decent results. It's not so much about the embroidery itself. It's more about like the setting up to it, right? So for example, I spend an hour, 2 hours digitizing this design. The last thing I want is for my machine to be giving me such a hard time after I already spent so long doing this design. So there are just some tiny little things. I'm sure you have the same thing with screen printing, where like there are things that I'm just like, I really wish this was different. I really wish this, it was better. For example, and I'll tell you right now that my favorite thing about this machine is that it's, I don't know if you can see it, probably not focused at all, but right now it has a little clamp here. I'm sure you can see it on your Melco, after you put the thread through the needle and then through the presser foot, and then you kind of want to hoop it around somewhere so it like sticks somewhere and it's out of the embroidery zone.
No, so mine just hangs down out of the bobbin.
Right. Okay. So, but in the way that you get that out of the way is you kind of like have to press it through, and then it goes under the, you could say the axe or whatever it is that just kind of carries it to the back. So with this machine, what I love is that it's, again, the tiny little details that matter to me, because at the end, you just kind of loop it around and it has a clamp where you just kind of like slide it through, and the machine itself locks the needle. I mean, the thread. So only when the machine is actually going to embroider that thing does it unlock it, and it lets it go down. And that way I haven't had the issue where like my threads get stuck, where like, for example, I'm embroidering using the needle 3, and then the number 6, randomly the needle just kind of pops off, and then it's not the needle, the thread, and it gets caught in the actual embroidery. And then I have to like, stop, cut it, get rid of it. And then, those are also the speed, of course. The speed of the machine is insanely like, I mean, comparing like 600, 550 to 800 stitches per minute, I'm saving so much time with the designs. Yeah. I actually recorded the video yesterday, and I was like telling on the video, oh man, I'm scared of how crazy it sounds when it's so fast. So it's and it's, again, the little things, not having to worry so much about tension. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm someone who at first I didn't understand the machine when I first got it. So I gave it like a year of training. I trained myself to like just have like understand it as much as I could, right? And I even invested in extra tools to do this, like manual, setting up the tension and everything. And I still had like a really hard time with it. And that's just the things that I'm like I was super frustrated about it, honestly, because spending so much time setting it up just for it to like not really work so well.
So the Ricoma, are you saying the Ricoma doesn't have any auto tensioning?
No. The EM1010 doesn't. This one doesn't either. But the difference is that for this one, yeah, exactly. It was actually a learning curve, which I'm grateful for that I was able to learn with it, to understand how tension works and what the numbers are that it works with. For this one, again, I'm grateful that David was able to kind of just come in, and it was already pre-set up, so I haven't really touched tension, but I feel confident now to be able to, mess around with it if I need to, because of the learning curve that I had. So it's good.
I feel like I'm looking over at my machine and thinking, is there somewhere where I'm supposed to hook that bit of thread, and I've just not been doing it for like 4 years or how long have I had this machine? But
it's just out of the way when you're going to embroider, right? And for like, again, for the Ricoma, it was driving me crazy because it still has a thing, right? So you are supposed to like push it out of the presser foot, bring it around, and then it cuts itself, which is, it sounds like an amazing thing. But in practice, as soon as you would cut it, it wouldn't actually like stay stuck to it, especially with the vibration of the machine. So it would just kind of fall down and then fall down and fall down. And I was like, like, what's going on? I was going crazy over that. So yeah. I feel like that's one of the things that, because I struggle so much with it, I'm so happy to not have to deal with that issue anymore. So,
okay. Yeah. You've seen the other side. The funny thing, there's like 2 moments. Okay. There's one when you pull your first screen print and you're absolutely terrified. Okay. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so nervous for no reason. And then the second most nervous I've been in here is pressing the green button for the first embroidery I've ever done, because the guy setting up is like, oh yeah, if you didn't trace it properly and the needle smacks into the hoop, you're dead. And I was like, sorry, what? Like the whole thing is buggered. Yes. Like how many tens of thousands of pounds are just going to go down the drain if I do something when I'm tired? So that green button is terrifying. Okay, just putting
it's
out
always trace, always trace. There's I definitely I've learned my lesson on that. So and it's cool because honestly I was able to, so what happened to me is with these hoops, one of the things that you guys want to watch out for is even though it says 5.5 inches, it's not actually 5.5, it's more like 4.9. You know, I actually like to take an inch off from both sides. So in total, I would only do 4.5 max because of the pressure foot. When the needle is going down, there's a chance that it's going to hit here or on the sides or at the bottom. And if you're doing a 5.5, it's not like the regular hoops. So if you see your original hoops, they're actually like what the size says because they have that extra space on top of that. But for these, they're very exact. So I was doing a design where like, it's like, you know, like 5.4. And I was like, yeah, I can totally fit that in because it says 5.5. No, the needle was going here and the needle was going here. And I was like, ooh, that's not good. I don't want to be doing any of that. So yeah, that's something to watch out for.
Just makes you tense up and it's horrible. So can you show the guys, if you're listening because you can't get to see this awesome jacket, but can you show us the embroider?
Oh, yes, of course.
I know it's supposed to say embroider heads, which I find hilarious, but I love that you've got that now. Now it's just embroider heads. How amazing is that? So guys,
go check out the video. Cool. We almost messed it up, but we clutched it in the end where like I was showing in that video that because it's embroider heads, that's what the group is. There was actually supposed to be an S here. But if you see on the jacket, there's actually 4 fingers on this side and then 4 fingers on this side. If that S were to have been added, this is game over, but we saved it. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I love the way with Itajima, it's just like, it came out so clean. There's like absolutely no like stitch errors. I was super nervous, honestly, about this because obviously when you start like playing with big shapes, you want to ensure that it doesn't, like move around. So I'm just so happy that this was a big shape and it still didn't go anywhere. Like you can see that all the outlines and everything are inside where they're supposed to be. So I'm happy about it. Really, really happy. Yeah. But next time I want to do this in holographic.
Sorry, even the actual design of it, because this is going to sound a bit harsh, but do you know, like stock embroidery designs, they're kind of like stuck in the 90s. And you're like, who wants that? Whereas that one there, I know it's not stock design, but it's bloody cool. It's like literally the embroidery threads going through a skull and coming out as like a rainbow vomit. It's just so cool. But I think that's why you're probably having like so much interest, because you're just bringing it up to like, okay, guys, we need to bring embroidery out of the clutches of people who are doing
just regular overall. Oh my God. I'm done with the polos, guys. That's it. No, to anyone who does polos, it's okay. Do your thing. But yeah, no, it's it's funny that idea.
You just just a whole category of people. You're like, get along with your polos. But
guys, I'm sorry. I love all of you. Okay.
Don't unfollow him because he said that. That's really funny.
Yeah, this design, I love skulls. So the reason why my name is KENBLKWRK is because I was actually doing tattooing before. So I started tattooing myself because I didn't want to get an apprenticeship. I like learning on my own. I like I like just picking things up, and then you know what? If it goes wrong, that's on me. So I started tattooing my legs, like this, for example, that I have here right now. Like I did it myself. And I guess the name just kind of stuck around, but my favorite thing to draw was always like skulls. And I was like, hey, I haven't made one in so long. Let me just try and, do something like this and embroider heads, it's like embroidery and a skull. Funny enough, this design, at the beginning, I actually thought it was going to like be spitting out like threads as well. And I was going to add red. And then also like from the bottom of the skull, also threads. So like, it was the decapitated.
That's making.
And I was like, maybe not that. Maybe let's just keep it to the eyes and let's remove the red so it doesn't look like it's blood. So make it more colorful, make it more PG friendly. And I'm really happy with the result of it. Yeah.
I really want to turn your laugh into a sound effect to like cheer up videos. Like it'd be so funny. Just clip it and put it in. Like if you're a little bit of a dull person, you can just clip in a little Ken laugh, and then it would cheer everyone up again.
That's funny. I actually like I edit out my laugh most of the time on videos because I find it to be unpleasant. Like I feel like people are gonna get tired of it, and I'm like, ooh, maybe don't keep that in there so often.
I'm sure you haven't had that as a comment. That's funny.
Yeah, I did have as a comment. Okay, so when I started doing videos, I kind of wanted to start being super serious, and I wanted to be like, like a newscaster, informative, and everything. I ended up buying a what is it called? A screen reader? What do you call it?
Auto cue? No. Yeah. I know, with where it's all written out.
Right. Yeah. So I put it in front of the camera and I was just like reading it. It was a little confusing, but I kind of got the gist of it. But because of that, because I was so focused on like reading it, I was like doing it like this, like, what's up guys? How you doing? Welcome to the channel. and then I got a couple of comments, people saying like, bro, what's wrong with your hands? Like, why are you moving your hands so much? Like, it's so annoying. And I was like, yeah, honestly, it is. So ever since then, I just kind of, backed away from doing scripts, and it's more like a natural style. So I think people enjoy that a lot more too.
Yeah, I think so. Because it just, I think that's also the reason why like people like Tajima are bothering actually sending people like you these machines, because they just can't come across as authentic or as people who are having real life experiences making money with these machines. Like you just don't believe them. So yeah, I know. I say that a lot. That's
funny that you say that actually. That's mainly the reason why I got a Ricoma in the first place, because this is all my experience. Everyone's experiences are valid, and if you enjoy your machine, I'm really happy for you, and it whatever works for you, right? But for me, my experience was that when I first got into the industry of embroidery, you look up YouTube. If you're anyone who has access to the internet, you just go on YouTube. And I think 90% of the videos were all about Ricoma. And I was like, damn, Ricoma is on it. Like Ricoma is the, it's the G. So I picked myself one up, and it wasn't until like, I guess a year into it that I was growing like my business a little more and the content and everything. People were like, okay, but have you tried Tajima, and have you tried like all these other brands? Because like they're actually the ones that are like being used by all of the professionals. And I realized like Ricoma did something really, really well, and that is their marketing. Like hands down, Ricoma marketing for embroidery. The fact that they're on it on YouTube, where it's like the dominant space where people get their information nowadays, that is like a really good thing. So I'm really glad that, companies like RB Digital, who provide Tajimas are now getting in that headspace, because Tajimas are amazing, but you don't see them anywhere on the online space. I guess they don't really need to because of how good they are. They just, they get to get away with not needing to do that marketing. But if they did, it was just like, wow, like where would they be right now? That is what I was wondering. So
Alan also said it is just the fact that Ricomas have financing, which the other machines didn't. It's like, this is a really big topic. How do you encourage people, or are you just not involved in this bit, but how do you get people to go from like hobby to business? And like, how have you done it yourself? Because how have you taken yourself seriously, basically? And like, what steps did you make to make it into a proper business?
Yes. So I know a lot of people like to kind of like say that unless you have like a multi-head, you're not really someone who's serious. I actually think different. I think that even if you have a home machine, like a single needle home machine, I know a couple of people who are just like super busy, super occupied, and they chose to get 4 different like single needles because that is what they're comfortable with. So at the end of the day, it's whatever machine you feel comfortable with starting out. And if you totally enjoy using those home machines, and by all means, it's insane, because I was like, even I questioned, I was like, why are you doing that? Like, why don't you just get one of these? Like whatever machine, right? And then I realized like, no, that's just the preference, and it's okay that they have that preference. And like, who am I to really say like, you know, you're not valid because you're not using the multi-needles. So I guess to start out, I would just kind of say like what worked for me is I learned how to embroider, and I got like the most affordable machine, which is the Brother SE600, is literally 4x4 inches, which is like smaller than this hoop, right? You can barely do like a chest logo with 4x4, but it was enough for me to learn the basics without being so overwhelmed. Because the thing is that most people who can't afford a Tajima that has like an auto tension, they might get overwhelmed if it's not installed correctly, if it's, there's just so many different components. So if there's people who want to play it on the safer side, then I would definitely say, hey, just get a single needle, learn. If you like it, you can try it for 30 days. If you don't like it, return it. That's usually how it goes anyways. So you get to learn, you get to test it out, make some cool stuff on your, on your clothing. And if you get a couple orders from people, then hey, that's how you start, getting that income. And then you can start looking at purchasing another one, or even like a bigger machine. So that's kind of like my thoughts on it. If I were to start a business again, well, not with the knowledge anymore, but I would definitely go for a multi-head from the start. And I would try my best to not buy it straight out, because for the Rikuma, Amanda and I actually bought it right away. Like we found a way to get it. But I think that looking back at it, I wish we spent more of that money towards like, pushing out our business more, maybe getting more clothing, more materials, buying the hoops right away, instead of just trying to get the machine like all at once and then thinking like, oh, like then we don't have to pay monthly. But it's like, yes, but then you don't have money for anything else. So how are you going to do that? So that's my thought.
Yeah, because a lot of them are offering like 0% finance and stuff. So I felt like that too. I hate owing on stuff, and I know exactly how much I owe on everything. So paying that off was like a really fun. I think I did it last week. I've paid off that machine. Paid it off? Hey,
congratulations. Let's go.
I actually did it like quite a long time ago, but they only just sent me my certificate. I'm like, I'm sure I've done this. And they're like, oh, one more payment. I'm like, nice. F you, but okay. But they're like, oh, you can pay another £320, or we can take back the machine to our warehouse. I'm like, are you kidding? I've just spent like $13K on this thing. There's no way anyone's getting off me. It's interesting.
Is that the deal that like you either pay like 1% at the end or something like that? I think that's what because it was the same thing for us. That's why I said no for that financing, because I was like, I do not want to be paying, because at the end of the last one, you either have to do like a certain amount or you pay like a percentage. I was like, I don't want to do either of those. I just want to get it over with. Yeah. So that was kind of like what I went with.
No, I can get that. Like I've done finance on a car, and they do like affordable monthly payments, like 160 quid or something. And at the end, they're like, oh, the last payment's 5K. And you're like, what? How am I going to conjure up 5K out of nowhere? So that's how they get you. And then you go, oh, I haven't got 5K. And then they give you another car to finance. So just, but this wasn't any like horrendous number. It's just one more monthly payment to finish it off. Thank God.
Yeah. But no, that's great.
All that kind of stuff is overwhelming for people who are coming off like being paid a paycheck, and then they're like, oh my God, I have to know about financing. That's really scary. Yeah. It's like getting a little mortgage. It's like having this payment. No, it is. So but there's a lot of digitising work and embroidery work around. So
it is. Yeah. Most of the ones I do, I actually don't even put online. So I did show off a couple of them because I wanted to put some content out. But a lot of the work that I do, it's actually from people that just know me from me being around the city. They just kind of ask me like, hey, like I need this for my girlfriend or like my husband or something. And I'm like, okay, cool. And that's how I do most of my business. So it's so funny that that's where most of it comes out from. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So they just know you as the embroidery guy instead of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Once you kind of show off what you can kind of make, then it's word of mouth that will really come your way. So you just want to make sure that you get it done then so that more people actually come. It's probably more stressful as a digitizer because they expect it like really, really quick, don't they? Because they're like, especially screen printers, we're like,
chasing them. Like it's been only like 4 hours and we're like, is it done yet? Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about like, what's your unpopular opinion about embroidery in the industry? Like, what do you disagree with that lots of other people think is fine?
That's a good question. Something that I disagree with that other people, something that okay. Yeah. Damn, I feel like, I think, I don't really know, honestly. I'm a very agreeable person.
You can like sit on it, but as screen printers,
I'll come back to that question. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. You'll probably think of something in a second when I trigger this. As screen printers, we get bombarded by digitisers.
Right.
So much that it's like a virus. And this is one of the reasons where you're like, oh my God, I think I'm just going to take my phone number off everything. Like I can't deal with it. But they've got such a bad reputation. Like, do you feel that you need another word for what you do? Because there's such a huge group of people just wringing it through the mud. Like, I don't know what you can call yourself.
That's so funny. Even Lee told me that recently. I told him about digitizing. He's like, "Oh man, you have no idea." And I was like, "No way." It's a trigger word.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, that actually, I guess that's one of the things. It's that it sucks how much digitisers have a bad reputation, but at the same time, I guess I'm trying not to be included, but we kind of do it to ourselves. I guess overall, like. I do that's why I'm barely just doing customs because I know how pushy people are. And you think that for them, they wouldn't actually contact me because they know that I know how to digitize, but it's actually the quite opposite. Like I had a lot of people who are asking me if I want digitizing done. And I'm like, my brother, don't you see what I have done over here? Yeah, I really wish there was a better community for digitizing. That's kind of like my goal as well, is to teach people how to digitize themselves so that they don't rely on others so much to get this work done. And just overall to spot what is good and what isn't. Because the thing about digitizing, especially when you work for yourself, is anyone can call themselves a digitizer, even if they've never done anything. And I've seen a lot of people who just kind of like grab other people's works, call it their own, and then, push it out there. And then when it's time to show that work, they're like, oh, this doesn't look anything like what you promised. So I could see why people hate them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I also respect that. Yeah. I respect the hustle to some extent as well. I understand they need to make money, but the cold calls and the catfishing. I don't know if you've seen this as well on Instagram.
I haven't. No, what's the catfishing?
There's two sides of the catfishing. Okay, there's the young hot model person. Yeah, okay. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you don't look like that, and you do digitizing in a basement all day. I'm not saying that digitizers live in basements, but they're like this super hot model with like a bikini on, and she's like, "Oh, do you need any digitizing services?" And I'm like,
"Oh
no."
Man.
And this isn't matching up, so no.
Yeah.
And then there's the other one, which I find really funny, is now they're using celebrity names. So they're like, oh, Hugh Jackman or something wants to, they call themselves that, or they call themselves like famous sports people. I'm like, who's buying this? It's just like a really weird thing. And then they just absolutely vomit on everything that is holy in graphic design with all their typography and 20 different fonts, and it's so jarring. You're like, and also calling anyone dear sir and madam. Sorry, you've opened up a whole can of worms.
Oh no, yeah, I've gotten that a lot actually. Yeah, you know what? That's funny. I didn't actually but you said it perfectly, because I have gotten a couple of like DMs from girls who like say like, hey, I'm offering my digitizing services, sir, or like hun or something. And I'm like, no, I have a girlfriend, get out.
So they are flirting with you as well. It's not just,
Oh and I know it's not a girl.
This isn't a girl. Even if it was a girl, anyway, sorry.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like,
that's something I wish that was changed about this community. I wish there was like a universal place where we could all find, kind of like, what is it called? Like Redbubble? No, not Redbubble. Like, there's this one space where like people are just posting their work and then you can actually hire them and they just showcase their work and it looks amazing. So, but they're really, I guess, I consider embroidery like a niche, and it feels something like it's just kind of beginning to rise. I'm sure you've been longer in this industry, so maybe you could tell me about that. Like, how do you find embroidery now to what it was a couple of years ago?
Well, I came into the space just through workwear. So it was very much like logos that nobody really cared what they looked like. The aesthetic appearance wasn't there. It was just like, write this small bit of text that shows the person's name clearly. So that was like, okay, I don't give a shit either. Send it off to one of these embroidery guys for like $7. I did it. Okay. And you're like, send it, get it back, put it on the workwear, done. There's no artistic need to go any further. But then what I found is I'm commissioning designs that from proper graphic designers now. So for my own brand and stuff, and they're more complicated. So I really, really care like what it looks like, because I need like tones and I need cool blends and details and things like that. So that now I'm actually sending it away to like one serious business. So
nice.
Yeah. So I've stopped using the kind of like free cheapy. Well, they're not even the free trial cheapy ones. So I've started to take it more seriously myself, and I can see the benefit because they do stitch through better. And these people are putting out content where they're like, oh, try this special technique with our embroidery, and they're teaching as well. And I find if someone's teaching about something, then they love it and they know about it, and they're not just, trying to palm it off on everyone. So I feel like that's why people are probably gravitating towards you as well, because you're showing that you really have an appreciation for and you're calling it a craft. It's not just like a little side hustle money-making scheme. Yeah. No,
the reason why I chose the reason why I fell in love with embroidery is because I used to love drawing a lot. I used to enjoy it. I've been doing it all my life, and it feels like doing it in 3D now. So it's kind of like taking something that is, just plain, and you're putting some real texture and some real like effects to it. And that's just something that I don't know. I haven't been able to find with anything else, where it's just like so easily attainable nowadays with all the varieties of machines that you can get. And then you learn a little bit here and there on how to digitize, and you're good to go. You can like, your mind is kind of like its only limit, right? So yeah. I
can see that. I think it's very parallel to screen print and the like love that you get for it. And you're like, wow, I can actually do this, and I can you can wear it, which I think is a special thing. And you can go out that day knowing you've just made this shirt that morning and get get people's immediate response on it, and it's real, which you don't really get with digital printing and stuff like that. So yeah.
Hey, tell me if you struggle with this. I actually am someone who truly loves like just having plain stuff, right? So I struggle constantly between this thing of like me having a full design embroidered on a sweater versus me having 0 things. It's like I want to embroider. I've been thinking of embroidering this hoodie for the past like month and a half now, but I don't want to touch it because I love the way it looks plain. So it's that like, when do I do this? When do I not do this? So, and it's so funny because I feel like for me, it's a much easier idea to get a tattoo on myself than it is to embroider a piece that I want to have on like this hoodie, for example.
Yeah.
I can make the tattoo decision so much quicker.
Me and Em went to a tattoo convention in our town, and this guy just had a clothes hanger rail with all his designs. We both literally just pulled off a design and went, can we have this one? Like, I don't even think it actually went into the decision thing. It was like, I'm going to get one of these. That's done. That's on there. I know you. So like for that exact hoodie, I've actually done one very similar. And I just found if the shirt is so cool and you love it, and even if it's like I think with it is the color of the garment is a statement in itself, being like a bright kind of ochre hoodie.
Yes.
So you don't want to like go over the top. So I just do like tone on tone stuff. So I do like quite an intricate embroidery, but it's all the same color as the garment. So like it's not too gaudy.
You just gave me an idea to do on this now. Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm literally just gonna have a logo with the same color on it. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like it's there, but it's not there.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've done that with expensive pieces in our range as well. Like we've got this jacket and it's so nice. You're like, oh, I don't want to ruin this. I don't want to like upset people's taste. So we've just got like a tiny bit of text, but it is black on black. So if you don't like it, you probably won't even notice it. But if you do, you think it's like something just for you.
It enhances it. Exactly. No, that's good. That's such a smart idea. That should be that's a trend right there.
Thank you. Can I tell you another thing that I've realized recently? No one's asked me what my unpopular opinion is. This is mine for now. I think I think left chest designs are for streetwear and stuff are a bit dead. They look too corporate. I think we should all be moving our left chests into the center. If it's something, I was
going to say you're going to say to the right.
We need more in the armpit. So they're hidden. I think left chests are dead for streetwear and fashion, and I think we should be bringing them into the center. The
middle is nice. The middle is really nice. No, I totally agree with you. That actually makes a lot of sense. I don't know if you saw like the older designs. I was actually trying to do more of like just center like pieces. But it's again, it's like if you mess it up, the fact that it's in the center, it can also get really, really messed up. So, but no, I totally agree with you on that. I wanted to talk about a really like something that I find really interesting, and this is where I kind of like disagree with the industry that we're in right now when it comes to digitizing, and that is the programs themselves. And that is how old school and how stuck they seem to be in this like idea that they have to charge so much because of how niche the industry is. You know, the machine is already super expensive. Why are you gonna make the program so expensive too? You know, I feel like if they made them more available, like honestly, I gotta say, although I hate monthly subscriptions, I have paid for Adobe Creative Cloud for the past 3 years now without a thought, because it made it so much easier than me having to do a one payment. And I don't know, it's out of my brain. I don't even think about it. And I just get to enjoy that program whenever I want. And if I want to stop using it, I can pause it, but I'm not going to pause it because of how easy it is to have. Right. So that's just the one thing I wish that this industry did differently is like, I don't know, modernize it to the point where like people have an easy way to get them. People have an easy way to actually get started. And like, I'm happy to do tutorials on all of them for free. I believe in free content. I believe in free information. Like nowadays, like I don't think we should be paying to learn. And if you really know how to research, you don't have to, because all the information is out there. But I just wish companies made it more accessible for beginners to have access to the programs, and not just like, because they have tiers, right? So they have different tiers and they lock themselves out, like out of doing like, you know, the more, whatever, like the more premium things. And it's like, why, you know, like you're just kind of like, you're not allowing this person to get creative and to really want to push the limits and to understand how the whole thing works on its own. So that's just what I was thinking. And it's been on my mind forever that I wish they kind of had a discussion where like there was an option of like, hey, a monthly subscription, I don't know, $20 for the program. People will go for stuff like that because of how easily and accessible it is. Oh, and get rid of the dongle, because what is this?
Oh my God, yeah. I've seen embroidery machines and they're like, oh, by the way, you have a hard disk. I'm like, what are you talking about? A hard disk? Yeah. Like that's even before my time. I remember seeing my brother use a hard disk as like a memory card. How is that still in the system? No. I can't believe they're gatekeeping the software like that. That is insane. Yes.
Yeah, no, that is the one thing that I'm so against is like, gatekeeping, honestly. And I feel like they would thrive so much. Again, they're already kind of starting to do this whole social media thing. So that's amazing. A little late because social media has been on forever, but hey, better late than never, right? But if you kind of like modernize and see how other programs are doing it and see the subscription-based style, I don't know. I'm all in for stuff like that. So I would like to know what you guys think. What do you think about stuff like that?
Well, yeah, definitely. Because it's a tricky one, and I can see how it can crop up and annoy people, because it's just when they do monthly subscriptions on things like Adobe, it's fine. And then you really piss people off in screen printing, for example, like when you take a feature away that they've been used to. So they've taken away.
Ooh, okay, yeah. No, that's a good thing too. Yeah. Okay.
Because they took away the Pantone books in the next upgrade of Adobe, but we've all integrated how we assign colors. And it's like, are you kidding me? So they've got to be careful to give everyone the features and then have maybe add-ons, but don't give everyone stuff and then take anything away, because we will. You have to do it that way around, I think.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a really good point right there. Actually, that's something that I didn't even cross my mind. But yeah, no, that was crazy. Again, I'm not even into screen printing, and I heard about that, and I was like, that's tough.
They got pissed. There is another thing though, and I don't know if I should really be saying it, but I am, because Adobe is basically their model now has gone into that monthly subscription, and it does open it up to lots of different people, and they're working on the software continuously all the time. So that's what makes the whole Adobe platform, even if there's apps that I haven't even opened up, there's a lot of use there. Whereas I think if people give you a one-time app, then they go, okay, it's yours now, I'm going to stop working on it. Like, they have no incentive to keep you on board as a customer to keep developing it. So it's kind of like a little bit lazy. So I think the monthly subscription is great, because you're just going to keep getting updates and things. Make sure at the end of your plan that you go in and don't just accept being taken off an offer. Like I often go in and say, oh, I see that you've put me up by 20 quid. Can I have my old offer, please? And they always say yes. So check what other people are paying for the same programs and set of apps that you are, because it can just like, you can come off an offer and think, oh, well, that's what I agreed to. But actually, you can always get yourself back on the promo. I've been paying the same amount for 10 years. So there you go.
Oh, that's nice. I got to go talk to them and threaten to cancel it right now.
Yeah. They're really good.
Yeah, they really want you to stay on, and that's how it should be. If you're offering a service, you gotta tend to the clients. So that's good. I wanted to talk about just again back on the same digitizing point is I don't understand. I don't know. Help me make sense of this, right? We're talking about a digital product that gets locked out at different tiers. For me, something being digital, it should have access to everything, right? Yeah. And I understand that, yes, there's people who need different things. Some people don't really care about like the more complicated things.
What are they looking you out nice of, Ken? Like different stitch techniques?
No, it's just honestly, okay. No, I don't know if I want to name drop, but like there's this one app to any digitisers who are out there. If you don't have the premium version, there's a little like premium crown that you have to, look at every single day if you don't have the premium. And I was like, what is that? That is ugly. That is not aesthetic. Get rid of it right now. I don't know. To me, I feel like if I were to be a digitizer using that program and I'm just like, and then I look to my right and there's a premium thing just reminding me of how like, how I can't afford that. I'd be like, no, I can. So sorry, unpopular opinion, guys, please don't hate me.
So there's a crown there telling you that you're too poor for this. So
exactly. Yes. It's just saying like, oh, you're a brokey. This is what you get. You can see what you can use, but you can't use it.
Yeah, that's super harsh. Because that just doesn't even make sense either. Because say if
it's digital. What's the?
I know. So like you're using the thing, right? The special effect. And then you're showing everyone else how to use the special effect. It's just going to bring more people in to want to use it. So
Yeah, exactly. I again, you show like free information, you show off what's possible with that thing, offer it so that, because I've also heard a lot of people who have contacted like, and this is not just one company, this is like different digitizing companies. I have people tell me all the time how they've contacted them and then it takes forever for them to reply back to them. And it's like, hey, you have people here wanting your program, you're not doing anything about it. And then like, obviously that person's going to be discouraged. They're not going to want to buy from you anymore because you took forever. Why don't you make it so that because it's a digital thing, you can just download it instantly. The person has access to it that same moment that they wanted. Even that, what's that like thing where like you have that purchase, like that instinct of you just want to purchase something right away. When you get that idea, you're like, oh, I need this. I'm going to purchase it right now. But if you have to have a consultation, you have to take time, you have to take like a week to get it done. By then the person had more time to think about it and be like, oh, you know what, maybe psych themselves out. I don't want to do this anymore. So, yeah. And this is just me thinking on the business side of things. It's like, why make people jump through hoops when it's a digital thing and you can make it so easily accessible for everyone?
Yeah, so. Even free trials, for God's sake. Anyway, there is some embroidery things while I've got you.
Yes.
I did an embroidery job for another embroiderer. I think his machines were down or something. And then the first thing that he did, he didn't even look at the front of the embroidery. He turned it inside out and looked at the back. Okay. So like, what are you looking for on the back of an embroidery to tell you if that's been done correctly? Right.
So let me see if I can show you. I have some projects that I can't really show yet. Okay. Like private information. Give me a second. Okay. This is a design that I did for my friend. He's starting like his own like little like dumpling company, right? I don't know if I can even like zoom it in that well, but this is what the back looks like. It's probably super hard to see, but you can see that in the middle, there's like the two colors from the top side. So that's the red. And then in the middle, that's the bobbin. And that's kind of like the tension. So usually when you look at the back, you want to see what the tension looks like. I mainly look at two things when I look at the back. And that is, I want to see, because I'm super picky and I say this on all my videos, like the jump stitches. So like the stitches that are left here, that's whenever you jump and you trim. And then the other one is the tension. So see what the tension looks like on that design. And that will just help get like a cleaner look on your file, because on your embroidery, because if it's too like high, like sometimes the stitches will sink in too much. And if it's too low, then the threads will like just kind of not even like go in. So you just look at that, see if your embroidery or your machine is set right.
Is what you're saying is like, so you've got like this circle of red, like the outline. And then you want to be able to see the outer edges of red, and then you want like a neat,
and in the middle
white.
You want the right. Yeah. Yes, that's right. And it's like the you want to basically for it to be the same. You want to see this in the middle. You want to see the bobbin, and then on the sides, you want it all to be equal. So 33, 33, 33. It's definitely going to change because of different thickness and everything. But overall, that should be the main goal for your tension.
And when you said the tie-up, that's like when it switches from one color to another. What is it that you were looking for there? So now that I've become a better digitizer, I used to kind of not really care about the order of designs, right? And then obviously for people who do embroidery, who do it commercially, it drives them insane. Like if you have a design that starts in one corner, then jumps to the other one, and goes back and forth. And I've seen a couple of them. I'm guilty of that when I first got started. And I guess I've accepted it because that's what I needed to do to learn. You want to make sure, and I do this with all my designs now, I do it in a way where like I must connect everything until I have to jump to the next color or the two shapes do not meet. So there's a way, and this is why it's kind of like a puzzle. Digitizing is a puzzle where you have to find a way to piece the pieces together without them like jumping all over the place. And that shows on the back. So you can kind of see on the back every single time the thread gets cut out and the needle like, cuts, and then it goes to the next shape. So that's just what I'm always constantly looking at. So the less is more for that. So the less jumps, the better. And then and then you're working from one side of the embroidery right down to the other would be ideal.
It doesn't, there's like no specifics like way to do it unless you're doing hats. Hats have a very specific way. Actually, so I'm currently working with Lee Stewart, who you guys had too, which is awesome. We're working on a couple like hat projects, and only recently that I realized, and again, it goes back to me that I'm still learning. The hats, you actually start from the bottom. So from the middle, bottom to the side. So it's kind of like you want to spread it out like if it was like if it was a flower. And I knew the ones from the center out, but I didn't know from the bottom.
Because I thought it was
from the top down and whatever, but no, it's actually bottom out. And it makes sense when you think about it, because the hat's kind of like this. So it helps to like spread out properly. And that's something that's really cool. So it's just learning how to path your designs and learning how to like create your outlines without like, for example, like getting stuck. Let's say, for example, I start stitching from the middle, go all the way to the end, and then like, oh crap, like I'm stuck here. Now I have to cut, jump, and then come back here and then go all the way. Whereas instead, you can start here, make the thing go there, and then it stitches all the way to the end. And it's like one clean shape where like only over here will it get like trimmed instead of like two things. So but that's something that takes practice. And that's something that every digitizer, at first, you're never great. And then it takes practice to understand all of this. Yeah.
Have you actually got like a cap set up on your embroidery machine yet? Or is it something you want to do?
I did get to test out a video with, yes, we do have the hat on this, like the setting, right? The rotating thing. We actually made a video with David. He was the one, he's amazing. Like David, so David is someone who works with RB Digital. He is a technician who helped install this machine. And he's a young guy who has so much knowledge, despite him just doing like his first year at being a technician. And I kind of met him when we were at when we went to check out the convention. And I was just like listening to him like nonstop. He was just like talking about it. And I was like, whoa, like this guy needs to be on videos. So please, Amanda contacted RB.
The microphone closer and closer.
Amanda was like, one of the things that's a must, we need to have David come through. So, so we got David. He came, he showed us how to do hats. And let me actually get it real quick. Okay. So this is my first ever like 3D design that I've ever done. It's a little hard to see, but it's like a 3D hat. It was done with the machine. And honestly, I felt super peer pressure to create this because we were doing another one that was taking forever. And I was like, you know what, for the video, I want to just make my own and kind of wing it. And David was like standing behind me and I was just like on my computer, like trying to digitize a 3D design for the first time in my life in like 5 minutes. So this was the result. I'm honestly super, super happy with it. And it was just kind of following the guidelines that I saw a video on YouTube that taught me how to do this in like 3 minutes. And then I did it myself. And it was honestly pretty good. So it
is one of the most fun things doing puff and stuff, isn't it? Like, and then do you do anything afterwards where you basically, I've seen it before where people literally get a lighter and they kind of like heat it up to like make it go down a bit. Like, do you do anything like that?
So you're supposed to use a heat gun. I actually use it mostly for the backs of the threads. So again, to burn these off, I have my signature lighter that at this point I've had so many people ask me about. Let me just get it real quick. All right, guys, this is what I use to burn off the back of the threads. It is amazing. It's like a torchlight. And then I just press it and it does this. So I don't know if you can see it. And then what I do, because this is obviously a lot stronger than a normal heat gun, I just go pretty quick and then I burn it off like that. And in like 2 seconds. That's not a heat gun.
That's a mini flamethrower.
You know what's funny? So many people ask me for this, and the reason why I started using this, guys, if you guys want to have views and content, get fire. Okay, people love fire.
We're all pyromaniac babies who love stickers, fire.
That's right.
Kids.
Yeah. So, and I had people, and I was like, I should totally sell this, but then I realized that it's really hard to sell fire. So
right. Okay.
Things with flammable. So I was like, you know what? It's okay. Maybe in the future.
That's what you're using instead of getting out tiny weedy little scissors and snipping the back.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I have no patience for the back. So I pull this out, obviously not for the front because you would probably burn the threads here. So I would definitely get a heat gun, but because I'm not doing 3D that often, I haven't had the need to really, get it out. I'd probably use the heat gun from like Amanda. I don't know what's the blow dryer. Yes, you can use a blow dryer if you don't have anything else. So yeah, a heat gun from Amanda's hair.
You just genuinely didn't know what that was called. You're like some girly thing that Amanda uses on her hair. That's really
guys,
funny.
by the way, my main language is actually Spanish. I came to Canada when I was
Bloody hell.
So I came to Canada when I was 11. So I do have a little bit of an accent here and there. Yeah.
No, you've got like immaculate language. I can't believe. Do you think in Spanish?
Yeah. So sometimes I have. It's horrible. Okay. Do you speak another language?
Only like up to school level, but not. No,
okay.
my main and first language is English, but I roughly know other languages.
So the problem with me and language is that you would think that because I speak two, I am better at both, when in reality, I'm worse at both. Okay. So I feel like lately I have 50% English and 50% Spanish, and it's never like the words that I need at the moment. It's like the opposite. It's like whatever word I'm trying to think about it, I just can't at that time. So I don't know, maybe I need to go read a book or something.
Isn't that just the biggest gift though? Because there's huge YouTube channels trying to translate their stuff into Spanish. Are you thinking about Ken Black in Espanol?
No, that's, what's funny? I don't know if you follow like any like YouTube like news or anything, but right now they actually have the dubbed files on YouTube.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that because it'd be so cool if a Spanish person is just like, hey, I'm going to watch this video, pops it in, and then the video is in Spanish. I was actually a little bit in the backstory. My cousin from Mexico, I sent him money for him to buy a microphone because he has like an amazing deep voice. And I was like, I'm kind of jealous of your voice. I wish I had that. But I was like, I could hire you to speak Spanish for me and to dub my videos. And then I showed that to my family and they're like, why aren't you the one talking? Like, why is someone else talking over you? And I'm like, you know what, that makes sense. Like, I should be the one. If I have the power to do it, why not? But I don't know. I just like his voice. So
I'm sure your voice is the same as his voice, but you just like lower the tone a bit. You just need to like pull it down over here.
If I'm here, he's like down here, and it's just like I want someone that's smooth with it,
Okay.
So, but we'll see in the future. My goal for now on YouTube is to kind of like. A lot of my videos, I wouldn't classify them as boring. They're more like actual instructional videos where I just sit down for half an hour and explain to people what it is that I'm teaching about. And my goal is to literally like cover all bases, like as much as I can, so that whenever someone has a question, that's already there. And I don't have to I can just send a video to them, be like, hey, this is what you guys want to watch. But yeah, in the future, like, for example, like what we did with this jacket, I want to do more stuff like that because that's really fun. Doing things like that with just vlogging, it's really, really fun. Definitely people are more attracted to that than like super specific videos. But I want to, again, I feel like because of how I'm very grateful for the way that I've been able to learn and grow in this community, I feel the need to just give everything back. And I want to do that. It's honestly a pleasure to be able to show people what I know. And I don't want to gatekeep. I don't like gatekeeping whatsoever. So that's the goal right now, to just try and teach everything that I know as much as I can. And then from there, have fun with the future videos. And if people are just starting out and they want to learn, then they can watch the older videos because that's the journey that I took to get there.
Yes. Oh, I feel like that's a really good way to round it up. But like when people are finding you, it's not like you've taken all the vowels out of your name, haven't you? So like, what is your handle? Is it, could you tell people what it is?
My handle?
Yeah. Like how, cause you don't put in KENBLKWRK, you put in BL.
Ken. Yeah, it's BL. Yeah. So it's KENBLKWRK. So again, maybe I'm just lazy with my name. I didn't want to put black work because at first, when I first started tattooing, I did not want to do color. Okay. I didn't like the idea of doing any other color besides black. So I'm like, that's why this whole tattoo is like only black. I was like, black work. And I was like, you know what? I was actually going to do Embroidery because it rhymed, but it was taken on Instagram. No. So I even contacted the person and I was like, please let me buy this, please. But they never replied to me. So I was like, I guess I'm just KENBLKWRK.
Yeah, that's really funny. Those buggers never actually used the name, by the way. There's someone called
never.
Yeah, there's someone called Blind Maggot in Russia, but his picture is like is something really graphic. He's got one picture, and it's something to do with the tomato and him being naked, and I'm like, I hope no one finds. I have to like put out so much content that no one finds this weird alternate Russian version of it. But no. But your logo is even really cool as well. So I think it'll be quite recognizable for people.
Honestly, I gotta take a second to thank like everyone who has helped me out, like from the journey that I've been in so far. I still find myself to be kind of like I guess a baby in the industry of embroidery, because compared to people who have done this for 20 plus years, I'm like nobody, right? Even if I do have the followers, I don't have the knowledge that all these people have, and I respect all of that. And I like to anyone who's like listening, I want to learn from you. I'm open to learning from anyone. Like, you don't have to feel like, oh, just because I'm on YouTube or I'm doing this, that I'm better than you. I don't feel that way at all. And I want to make sure that people know that. But obviously I want to thank like certain people, like for example, A-Dubs, that man, like if it wasn't for him, I don't think we've ever gotten started in this thing, because I wouldn't have seen that video. For example, like in Lee Stewart right now, he's actually been helping me out so much with like giving me like tips, because he's been in this game for longer. So he knows what's up. And I'm just grateful for that. And obviously there's one person who I think deserves more, praise, but I just don't give it because it's not the right audience. So the way in which I learned digitizing is I did learn it by myself at first, but it wasn't professional. So it was good, but it wasn't great, like for industrial people, right? People who were in this industry, who are like professional, they would have seen my work and they'd be like, this is trash. Like, don't even look at that. It wasn't until I talked to one friend and they mentioned this name. His name is Ederson Ramos. He's a Spanish guy. And he teaches to a close community, but it's Spanish only. And he has been on this game for quite a while now. So I decided to pay for his course, and he was the one that was able to like teach me like how to properly digitize. He told me, whatever it is that you're doing right now, throw it all in the garbage. Like, just empty your brain out, start from zero, and then learn with me. And I did it, and it was tough, but it was really nice. And I'm grateful for that as well. So thank you. If you ever watch this, probably not, because he doesn't speak English.
Yeah, but we can tag him. So like, yeah. So how do you spell his name? Just so we can put it in the description.
Let me try and think about it. EDERSON space RAMOS.
Okay. Edison Ramos.
Right. Yeah.
But it's maybe I spelled it wrong. Now we have to learn Spanish to be able to learn off Edison. So we need to dub him into English.
In the future, I'll be your co-host if you let me, and I'll speak Spanish, Spanglish.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I'll translate everything you need. It will just add like a third screen or something. You'll be the multiverse. Kind
of like that helpful paperclip. I don't know if you're old enough for that. Do you know Microsoft Word? Yes. Okay, good. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I'm so glad that didn't go over your head. Yeah. Okay. You can bring
I'm grateful for my mom. She put me on a computer since I was like 3 years old. So
you're like, Ken, the giggling paperclip to like, or needle or something to like help you.
Oh man.
That would be really funny. Anyway, yeah. I'm going to let you get on because it's like in the middle of your day, but I really appreciate all of this. Is your Discord group open to anyone, or is it?
Yes, it is. You know what though? Right now, after I spoke again with Lee Stewart, we realized that it might be better to still have a Facebook group. So we're going to be working on that. And I'll reach out to you when it's ready. Maybe you can like add it in the comments or something, because I want more people to have access to just whenever they need help or with anything. Discord is kind of like even though it's huge online, not everyone has access to it. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
I'll try and guide people over there, and I'm going to like lurk in there.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much, by the way. Hey, by the way, I just got to say, if you're not an anime person, the Discord is like bombarded with anime people. So that's why we're doing the other one, because it's going to be more of a general, like for everyone, versus people are diehard anime fans. I wasn't even an anime fan myself when I first got started, but I guess it just kind of grew in, Do you watch it at all?
They've taken over, have they? No.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate it from a distance, but I've never actually sat down and watched a whole anime
Gotcha.
film.
Yeah.
But I love the art. But yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't be overwhelmed. You don't have to be into anime and embroidery at the same time. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this.
Cool. Okay. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.